Hello, YouTube. It is Prodigious back at you for the final part. I know you must be sick of this by now. Of the Beelzemon Beelstar Week, of where we're given examples of different variations and play styles and types that you can make using just a single advanced deck. Now, currently, there's only two advanced decks out on the market. There is the Beelzemon, and there's now the new Double Typhoon that features Terriermon and Lopmon. It is mostly a Terriermon deck, but I have done this segment all this week to just kind of showcase different ways that you can build these decks using the advanced deck, and their different spins on how they can be played and applied. But let's get into it. So this is going to be our final form of Beelzemon. This is the X antibody form. Alright, so let's get into it. So first is going to be our egg. We're definitely running the Yamon from the advanced deck. His effect is when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has Wizard or Demon Lord trait, trash the top two. Next, we're running 3 copies of Impmon from BT2 as well as the advanced deck. On deletion, trash the top 3 of your deck. And then we're running 4 copies of Digimon X antibody. Now, what he does is he does cost 4 to hard play. He costs 0 to Evo on top of our egg. But we can also Evo him for free on top of an Impmon. He offers on play or when Digivolving. By trashing 1 option card in your hand, you may return 1 Digimon card with Evil, Wizard, or Demon Lord trait from your trash to your hand. He also has the inheritable of when attacking once per turn, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. So this is sort of the opposite of our Tamer Ayamako that we've seen from the advanced deck, of where you can pitch a option card, which again, that could set you up for something else later, in order to retrieve back a missing piece that you need from trash that may have gotten milled, as well as a great inheritable. Then I'm running 4 copies of the advanced deck Impmon, because what's not to love about this little guy right here? When attacking, if you have 20 or more cards in trash, you can Digivolve into a Beelzemon in your trash for a cost of 3, ignoring the requirements. And the inheritable is your turn once per turn when a card is trashed from your deck. Delete 1 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. And then he was so good they had to put a wanted poster out for him and make him limit 1 per deck. You got Impmon from EX2. The main thing to make sure you read on this card is that it says that when this card is trashed from your deck, you may trash up to 3 more cards from the top of your deck. Otherwise, it does have an on-play effect, but you will rarely be wanting to actually Evo into this unless you have no other option. You will want to try and set this up so that way this is rather in your hand to be put on top of your deck through various effects, or just it be milled in general straight from your deck. But the on-play is reveal top 4, add 1 Digimon card with Beelzemon in its name and 1 Ayamako among them, and put them in your hand. Place the rest of the bottom deck in any order. In your turn, while this Digimon has Beelzemon in its name, it gets plus 3000 DP. Then I'm running a single copy of Impmon from BT6. It has on play, you may trash 1 card in your hand. If you do, return 1 Digimon card with 7 Great Demon Lords or 3 Musketeer traits in your trash to your hand. Now on to our champions. We are running 4 copies of Wizardmon. He has when this card is trashed in your deck, gain a memory. He also has when attacking, you may reveal 1 purple card in your hand and return it to top of deck. Again, you're going to want this mainly to be trashed, but if you do happen to have it in your hand and you have no other choice, feel free to Evo into this, because at least he can help you set up your mills. But there also is a bit of some toolbox utility, because we do have Wizardmon X antibody. Now what he does is a little bit unusual. Usually when it comes to these X antibody forms, they give you some sort of additional bonus effect if you Evo on top of the corresponding previous form. But Wizardmon here and one other in our deck actually has text that says something different. They give you different effects based on if it did evolve from the previous form or not. And usually you're going to want it to actually evo on top of something else and not from its previous form, if that makes sense. So let's get into it. So he evos on top of Wizardmon for free. He has When Digivolving. Trash the top 2 cards of your deck. If Wizardmon or X antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, it gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn instead. So let's say you had no choice but to Evo into a champion. And I already mentioned you want to usually have this milled from your hand, but you Evo'd. But now you drew into Wizardmon X. You want that mill, but at the same time, if you Evo on top of him, you're just going to get blocker. So just keep that in mind. If you want the mill effect from him, you want to Evo on top of a rookie and no Wizardmon. If you happen to have a Wizardmon out because you had to Evo for whatever reason, remember that when you Evo on top of him to get that card draw, you're not going to get mill. You're just going to get a blocker for a turn. But that's still not bad, because you can still get yourself a nice big stack that has plenty of inheritables. Speaking of inheritables, Wizardmon X here has, when attacking once per turn, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. So just more mill. He either gives you mill when he evos on top of a rookie, or he's going to give it to you in his inheritable, or both. Now, next up, we are going to take a look at Beelzemon. I'm running 3 copies of the version from the advanced deck. You could run the Beelzemon from BT10, but I feel like this version's ability to just give you, even for that one turn, the on-deletion effect to the entire stack, plus the inheritable, is just too good to pass up. He has When Digivolving, trash the top 3 of your deck, and when Digivolving, this Digimon gains on deletion. If there are 10 or more cards in your trash, you can play a Beelzemon from your trash without paying the cost until the end of your opponent's turn. Inheritable, while this Digimon has Wizard or Demon Lord trait, it gets plus 2000 DP. Now, our other ultimate for the deck is we are running 3 copies of Beelzemon X Antibody. Now, just like Wizardmon, he does different things depending on what he evolved from. He can Evo from a level 4 for 3, or he can Evo on top of Beelzemon for 0. When Digivolving, you return 1 X Antibody from your trash to your hand. And when it says X Antibody, it's referring to the option card, which we are running in this deck, and I will get to here shortly. He also has When Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. If this Digimon has Beelzemon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon instead. So, again, just like Wizardmon, you need to pay attention to what you're evoing on top of. If you want the mill effect, and then you want to try and search your trash for the X Antibody, evo this on top of a level 4 that isn't... can't talk. Evo this on top of a level 4 and not Beelzemon. If you want to forego the milling of 3 cards, but still get to search your trash for X Antibody, then you can Evo this on top of Beelzemon. So you have to kind of keep yourself aware of which effects happen where. Alright, now going into our megas. We're running 2 copies of Beelzemon from EX2. This is when this card is trashed in your deck, you can play an Impmon from your trash without paying the cost. It also has when digivolving and when attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck, then delete an opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon, and for every 10 cards in trash, you can increase that level by 1. And now, onto the prize of my decks amongst these. I'm running not 1 but 2 copies of Beelzemon from the Advanced deck. Funny story, I bought 2 decks initially, and the very first one I opened, I pulled this variant of what they call a lottery card of Beelzemon, and I love it. Anyway, this has when digivolving, trash the top 4 of your deck. All turns, when a card is trashed in your deck, gain a memory for every 10 cards in your trash. And your turn, once per turn, when a card is trashed, he gains security attack +1. Then I do have a single copy of Beelstarmon in here. It's just hard to not run at least one of her, because this deck is going to mill a lot, and you can get to where you can potentially play her for 1 cost, 5 at the most. With her effect of when you would play this card, reduce its play cost by 4 for every 10 cards in your trash. All turns, when a card is trashed from your deck, you can play an Impmon from trash and it gains rush for the turn. Opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, you can trash the top card of your deck. And then last, we are running for our level 6s 2 copies of Beelzemon X antibody. Now he is going to be your setting up to win button for this deck. He has Digivolves from Beelzemon for 1. When digivolving, if this has Beelzemon or X antibody in its sources, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack for every 10 cards in your trash. On deletion, you may play a Digimon with Impmon in its name from your trash without paying the cost. So please note, you could use that on deletion effect that you can actually grab Impmon X antibody. Now on to the level 7s. I'm running a single copy of Beelzemon Blast Mode from the Advanced deck. Oh, and in case I haven't mentioned it in my other videos, because I might have been bad about not mentioning it, Beelzemon X antibody comes from BT12. But anyway, we got Beelzemon Blast Mode. When this card is trashed in your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon, and for every 10 cards in your trash, increase that level by 1. When digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. If you have 20 or more cards in trash, gain 3. And that is it for the Digimons. Now on to the options. I'm running 2 copies of 7 Full Cluster. This card has a trash effect of where, while it's in the trash on your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Beelzemon X antibody, by returning this card to the bottom of the deck, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Its main effect is just to straight up delete the opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Security effect is the same. Then we have 4 copies of Deathslinger. When it's milled, you gain a memory. Main effect is to delete an opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon for every 10 cards in your trash. Increase the level of this effect by 1. Main effect is, or security effect is to activate the main effect. I'm running 2 copies of X Antibody, and the reason why is because I cannot say no to the possible strategy this card can give you. So here's what it says. While you have a Digimon in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. Security effect is to gain 1 memory and add this card to your hand. Main effect, place this card under one of your Digimon without X Antibody in its Digivolution cards at the bottom source. So what it means by that is, if you don't already have this card underneath somebody, you can place this under somebody. Its inheritable effects is the following. All turns, effects can't trash X Antibody, which means this, in this Digimon's Digivolution cards. So that means decks that like to strip your sources, this card will not get taken away. When attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X antibody in its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost. So the reason why we run this is because, if need be, we can slide this under our sources, swing, and Evo, and during the swing and Evoing into an X antibody Digimon, we're able to trigger some other effects. The biggest example I can think of is you put this under Intmon from the advanced deck, you swing, you have 20 or more cards in trash, and one of them is a Beelzemon. You Evo into that Beelzemon, you trigger any of its effects of when Digivolving, and then you can proceed to activate this card's effects of allowing you to Evo again, and you can Evo into a Beelzemon X antibody in your hand during that swing. So it's just too hard of a combo that I would love to pull off. That's why we run this in here. Then we have 4 copies as our final option card, Rival's Barrage. When this card's trash, it goes to the battle area. Main effect is to delete the highest level of our opponent. Main effect delay is we can pop it from our battle area to return a purple Digimon or Tamer from trash to hand. Security effect is to delete the highest. Last but not least, for our Tamers, we are running 3 copies of Ai and Mako from the advanced deck. Because again, this is going to help us search the top 4 of our deck when we play it for an evil or wizard or demon lord, as well as its effect of when we do Evo, we can suspend this, put a card on top of our deck, and gain a memory, which will set up our mills. But that is it. That has been the long journey of the various types and builds that you can do. All of them may look alike, and all of them may even try and play very similar, but once you get to your top end, these decks can play very differently from each other. One deck goes for more of a rush style type of play that plays a bunch of rookies and tries to hit you. One tries to hit you very hard. One tries to just trash your security. All these different variants and all these different types of builds are all possible from just a single or couple copies of an advanced deck. So like I said before, I love the concept of the advanced deck. And as you can see from this week, I love my boy Beelzemon. But anyway, this has been Prodigious. I hope you enjoyed the ride. Like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned, because now we're going to finally move on to some other decks, because I know you must be sick of the purple. Until next time, later.